it's terrible.
Why he says he's an important voice while others say he has no place serving in the position. Fear of the freeze, what some parents and advocates worry will happen if federal funds for child care are withheld. Skiers and snowboarders have their hopes melted as wet weather closes a resort. The impact it's having on the local economy and when they could open again. Good evening. We're glad to have you with us for the 10 o'clock news. I'm Anna Katayama. First at 10, some Oregon parents are concerned a recent move by the Trump administration could leave them without child care. They're concerned the federal government's announcement to suspend child care funding might push a program that they rely on over the edge. Fox 12's Abby Davis is following this story, and she joins us now. Abby, how many people do you think might be affected?
Potentially tens of thousands of Oregonians. The Trump administration said it would freeze the money after allegations of widespread fraud involving daycare centers in another state.
But there, you have to roll the dice, remember?
Natalie Kaya doesn't take her house for granted. 3 years ago, she and her kids were playing on a shelter floor homeless after she became a single mom.
I ended up having to choose between daycare, so I could work my full-time job, or rent, so we could have a house.
Kaya now worries about the future of the program she says turned her life around, Oregon's employment-related daycare. The Trump administration announced earlier this week it was freezing child care funding because of fraud allegations involving daycare centers in Minnesota.
Can you imagine they stole $18 billion? That's just what we're learning about. That's peanuts. In California is worse, Illinois is worse, and sadly New York is worse. A lot of other places.
It is shocking.
Courtney Verano is the deputy director for All Families Oregon, a child care advocacy organization.
While Oregon does also allocate some state general fund dollars towards this program, the long-term success of this program, it's just not possible without that federal funding. So freezes or giant hurdles, essentially what that equates to is families potentially losing access to care, having to roll back or leave the workforce, providers having to lay off staff or potentially shut their door.
Kaya's nanny, Erica Joy Asilo, is paid through the ERDC program.
This is my sole income. If funding gets cut, I won't be able to buy food and pay for my housing and pay rent.
Devastating doesn't even cut to the core of what it feels. It's terrifying, honestly.
There are still a lot of unknowns about this freeze, including when it could hit Oregon. So far, the Oregon Department of Early Learning and Care hasn't received any official guidance about the cuts. Reporting in studio, Abby Davis, Fox 12 Oregon.
Thank you, Abby. Skiers and snowboarders are calling it a bummer. Mountain Hood Meadows suspended operations Friday and Saturday because of wet weather. The season was already off to a delayed start because of a lack of snowfall. Fox 12's Leslie Dominique caught up with one local retail shop to see how these unlucky conditions are affecting business.
I just kind of love snow. Speed and jumps.
I like the jumps, yeah.
Skiers like 9-year-old Alden Hood, who were hoping for snow, speed, and jumps this weekend, may be in for a letdown. Mount Hood Meadows announced the suspension of their operations for Friday and Saturday after heavy rain saturated the snowpack. The resort is now waiting for conditions to improve. It's a disappointment added onto an already delayed season. Warm temperatures and limited snowfall forced some of Mount Hood's resorts to push their opening dates back nearly a month, with Meadows finally opening on December 23rd, one of its latest on record. That slow snow buildup on the mountain didn't just affect skiers. It also slowed productivity in the metro, impacting local businesses who rely on the winter recreation season.
I've been in Oregon for 18 years, and it's unlike any season I've ever seen.
Although you can't really tell by this crowd, Andy Powers, area manager of Evo, says traffic is down by 20% over the holiday season. While people are still buying skis and snowboards, the sales of goggles, jackets, and gloves have been slower. As Andy says, not enough people have made it up the mountain yet to know what gear they really need. But hopeful, he remains.
We've got time. There's a lot of season left. We ski till April at Meadows. We ski till a lot later at Timberline.
Early forecasts show potential for better conditions on Mount Hood next weekend. For Laura Metters and Alden, they're hoping the weather will match the winter wonderland they experienced at Meadows last weekend.
There was more snow than we expected. It was nice and sunny and blue skies. Hopefully we'll get some good days in.
Now, Mount Hood Meadows says it's too soon to decide on operations for Sunday, but they will provide updates on their social media. For now, reporting in Southeast Portland, Leslie Dominique, Fox 12 Oregon.
All right, let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Mark Nelson, now. Let's hope that he's got some hopeful news to share with us.
Yes, well, this weekend, not so much. A little bit of snow Saturday night, Sunday, but I think Sunday's going to be a tough one.
Okay.
Beyond that, though, that's the Live Butte Ski Bowl. We can see after dark because it's more or less the full moon out there. So I did go back and look. So this is the lowest snowpack on record, generally back at least to the mid-1970s for this date. So don't worry so much about the numbers. That means how much water would be in the snow if it's melted down. Notice this year is the lowest number. And you see the other really bad years. 2 years ago, we were in this situation. It was like that in 1990, 2020 was the same, and then two really bad years, 05 and 14. So I checked and I said, okay, so what happened in January those years? Well, the good news is in 2024, 2 years ago, we got so much snow in the next 2 weeks. I remember ski areas briefly had to close to dig out their lifts. Okay, so they got a ton of snow in January. That year, in 1990, it did go big in January, 106 inches at Government Camp. 102 inches fell in 2020 in January. So those were the good years. But in these two really bad years, when it started off pretty bad, it stayed this way. Only 11 inches fell at Government Camp in January of 05. This is probably one of the two worst ski seasons on record. So I guess the point is there's definitely still hope, and we think we see some significant snow the middle of next week. So again, like Michaela said, maybe next weekend is looking better. Meanwhile, we've just got these scattered showers that have been rotating up through the Pacific Northwest. There's a big weather system sitting out here. We're here, so we kind of get the leftovers as it moves north out of California, and a southerly flow, so that's pretty warm for us. Not that much showing up on the radar. The plan is overnight, we'll just see these scattered showers continue. In the last 6 hours, we've only had a few drips here and there. So big picture, we're going to have a partially wet weekend. I think tomorrow morning and midday will be dry. We got a little bit of mountain snow Sunday. We'll talk about the road conditions. And then it will be a little cooler mid to late next week. Could there be snow down to like 1,500 feet, 2,000 feet? I think so. So Anna, stick around. We'll talk about that. And when the rain returns tomorrow evening, too, the numbers for that.
Okay. We will check back with you, Mark. Thank you. Tonight, we're following a developing story out of Newport. Two people are dead following a stabbing and a shooting. This all started just before 1 o'clock this morning when Newport police were called to a home on Northwest Grove Street to reports of somebody pounding at the door. Officers say the person inside went to the door and then saw a man stabbing another man. The person went back inside, grabbed a handgun, and then called 911. Police say the person who called 911 then tried to get the man to stop stabbing the other man, but the suspect continued, and so the person in the home shot the suspect, who died at the scene. Now, the victim was taken to the hospital and then transferred to a Portland hospital in critical condition. While police were investigating, they found another man dead along Highway 101. Police say that person was stabbed as well. Now, anybody with information is asked to contact Newport Police. Washington County deputies have arrested a man accused of attacking somebody who he met on a dating app. Police think there may be more victims. Take a look. 36-year-old Andrew Graham now faces several charges, including online sexual corruption of a child. That's because deputies say that he tried to contact the adult victim after allegedly sexually assaulting them, and an investigator texted him back instead, pretending to be the victim. During the chat, deputies say that Graham expressed an interest in meeting a child to pay for sex. Deputies say they arrested Graham on Wednesday at a park where he thought he was going to be meeting with the adult victim and a child. We're told that Graham came to the park with condoms, alcohol, and hundreds of dollars in cash. Portland police are investigating a crash that killed a motorcyclist just about 5 o'clock this evening. Officers were called to Southeast 122nd Avenue and Tibbet Street. When they arrived, they found a crash involving a motorcycle and an e-scooter. Portland Fire and Rescue confirmed the motorcyclist died at the scene. The driver of the e-scooter was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Officers closed roads in the area to investigate, and police are asking anybody with information to give them a call. A convicted murderer could face removal from a couple of public safety boards in Salem. Back in 1994, 17-year-old Kyle Hedquist led a teenager down a remote logging road and then shot her in the back of the head to stop her from telling police about burglaries that he had committed. He was granted clemency in 2022. Now, more recently, Hedquist was appointed to serve on the city's Community Police Review Board. That happened in May of 2024, despite the fact that he was a convicted killer. He was reappointed in December and was also appointed to the Civil Service Commission. Now, opposition is growing over his role on both of these boards. Fox 12's Michaela Armstrong got a chance to speak with Hedquist and has more on his reaction to the calls for his removal.
He tells me that though he has a criminal past, he is able to offer another perspective to both boards that he believes is needed. But the Police Employees Union disagrees.
I had 28 years of lived experience behind the walls of the state penitentiary and interacting with the system.
Kyle Hedquist has served Salem's Community Police Review Board since 2024. But now his reappointment to that board and his appointment to the Civil Service Commission could be up in the air over growing outrage about his criminal past.
I think the issue is more about having someone on the board with a felony conviction rather than the murder conviction itself.
Hedquist was convicted of the 1995 murder of Nikki Thrasher when he was 17. He was granted executive clemency for the crime by former Governor Kate Brown in 2022.
My crime happened over 30 years ago. And I think that people miss that point. Sadly, I made really bad decisions a very long time ago when I was in high school, and I'm living with those consequences every day.
According to Salem City Councilor Vanessa Nordyke, when Hedquist was appointed in 2024, a background check was not conducted. City staff later ran a check revealing his convictions. The council voted for his reappointment 5-4 in December, with Nordyke voting in favor. But now she, along with others, is pushing for the council to reconsider.
It most certainly is an effort to remove anyone with any criminal convictions from being a part of boards like this and others. And that to me is very concerning that we're moving in that direction.
However, not all feel the same.
It's like I'm in a cartoon. This just does not seem real.
Salem Police Employees Union President Scotty Nowning says he was in shock when he learned Hedquist was sitting on the board.
Every time you look into his crimes, it's terrible. It's heinous. I mean, his crimes are terrible.
Nowning is pushing for his removal and has asked the city council to reconsider his role on both boards.
But if you don't change the guardrails and you don't change the standards for being on there, then someone else with equal or worse criminal history, if they were out of jail, could potentially be on the board.
He says people put their trust in these oversight committees that hold police accountable. And he says Hedquist isn't fit.
I wouldn't be qualified to sit on a board to say how prisoners should behave or how they should be treated. I just don't have that expertise. And I think on the flip side, he doesn't either, for us.
We did reach out to the city about this, and a spokesperson told us they do anticipate the city council will be considering this matter at their next meeting on January 12th. In Salem, Michaela Armstrong, Fox 12 Oregon.
A retrial has been scheduled for later this year in the case of a North Plains man accused of shooting and killing his brother at a popular wedding venue. There was a mistrial back in November against Robert Horning. He's accused of shooting and killing his brother Carl in 2024 amid a tug-of-war legal battle surrounding the family business. It's called Horning's Hideout. Robert claimed self-defense, saying that Carl was coming towards him with an empty wine bottle when he shot him. Now, the jury in the first trial could not reach a verdict. The retrial is now scheduled to take place in October. Union healthcare workers have ratified a contract with Legacy Health, officially ending their 29-day strike. This new agreement includes more frequent pay raises, new protections for workers against workplace changes, and the forming of a committee to help increase communication. Now, the agreement comes after more than 18 months of bargaining. 135 workers went on strike on December the 2nd.
The 10 o'clock news is just getting started.
Straight ahead tonight, an 18-year-old has been arrested and faces charges of animal abuse. The disturbing sights that neighbors say they've seen in a nearby park. Plus, officials are warning others to be on alert after a cougar is spotted in our area. We'll show you where that sighting happened when we come back.